Welcome in, everyone, to episode 70 of Coffee and Chel. As I'm joined by Padre today, as we discuss all things draft lottery and recap the GWC a little bit, or the NHL 23 World Championship a little bit, as I just returned home from Sweden. And what a weekend it was, let me tell you. Padre, what have you been up to? What did you do this weekend?
Oh, we actually had a really busy weekend.
It's the
So
most dad
my
thing ever,
daughter,
isn't it?
yeah, well, no, my daughter had a birthday party. We had
Hmm.
we had like our first big birthday party for her, like the first time. You know what I mean? Because we did like the whole thing. We did the bounce house in the backyard. We did like probably like 30, 40 people were invited type thing, and a bunch of kids were over, and it was actually really good. She loved it. I mean, she had like the time of her life. It went by so fast because it's like you do all this stuff to prepare for it, and my wife does most of the grunt work, but I but I had to set up all the stuff obviously and like run around all Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was fun. Got a little sticky and humid out here for the first time this year, so I'm kind of dreading that. But other than that, I know you went to Sweden, so that's far more interesting than my dad's stuff.
I gotta say, also for everyone that just joined my chat, thank you, Thrash, for the raid. Um, dude, like, I get to do some cool stuff in my career,
Yeah.
but this was work. Like, 6 hour time difference, so they are 6 hours ahead. The flight to get there is 9 hours, plus, like, about 3 hour layover I had. So, like, I was there, I think a combined, like, 46 hours, and that's not including sleep. So, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I did not get to experience Sweden. I wish I did, but I literally landed. I left at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I landed 12 p.m. Sweden time. So I was up the whole time. I couldn't really sleep on the airplane, and I tried to stay up as late as I could to kind of fix my body clock for it. I made it to like 5:30, and 5:30 I woke up, or I went to bed, woke up 2 a.m. Sweden time, and just in time for me to watch the start of the Red Sox game. So that was pretty cool. Watched the entire Red Sox game to like 5 a.m. and then went to bed for like another hour. Woke up at like 7. Had to go to rehearsal for the old GWC. So did you catch any of it or no?
I just caught just the videos I guess that Jordan was tweeting out. Like I'll like I kind of I guess maybe it was a little too blunt last time. I don't know. I just don't get into the European stuff now. It sounds bad. Like I'll probably watch more of the North America, and it's not even just because like I'm not European. I swear like I used to pay attention more years ago, and I kind of texted you that this weekend. I'm like it's just like kind of just like lost its luster a little bit, and some of that's obviously because the game's not good. So
Yeah, I think part of it is, I honestly think that not the community. I don't know how to say this right. It's like, if the GWC went away, I don't think people realize how much that holds up competitive NHL,
oh yeah.
and everyone just kind of expects it to be. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. It definitely feels different. They try the game this year was so bad that it just killed a lot of it, I think. And
You know, can we have like a little like discussion since like I mean we're just gonna talk about real hockey. We had to talk a little bit about video games.
yeah,
This is gonna be a hot take, okay? And
I
I've talked
can't
about
wait.
this
I
with
love I
me
love hot
and I
takes.
and I wish Kesso was here because we actually talked about this in Discord a few mornings ago. So I'm a competitive player always for years, and I like the GWC. It's a great idea. It's cool. Like it's a great concept. Whatever. There's a lot of things they can do to make it better. Whatever. But in my opinion, and I like Tris too. Let me preface that too. Great website, great idea. Maybe this is like I said. I'm probably in the
I think I
minority
know
of
where you're
this.
going with this.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, LG and GWC have really hurt the actual video game. Not talking about the game being good or bad, just the actual video game, like playing the game, getting on and playing the game. I know that people like leagues. I know people like, competitiveness, but there's no more just getting on and playing. Like maybe there is for a small sector, in my opinion. If you got rid of, but I just feel like some people just get on and play their 8 and 9 o'clock LG game, get off, or get on and play their ESHL. That's the name of the league. get on, get off. You know what I mean? It's just so everything's so done now. Like they have to play for money. They have to play for that. Like you have to play for something. Where everyone used to just get on and just like play a monthly leaderboard for a stupid virtual banner that would raise in the rafters before every game, or just you know what I mean, just goofy stuff like that. And I feel like it's killed what the game used to be almost. Like I said, I'm not trying to make it sound like I hate the site or I hate the tournament. I just feel like it might have done a disservice a little bit to it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think that those two things prop up the game.
No, yes,
Let me ask you this. From a competitive player, if there was no NHL 23rd World Championship, why are you playing NHL? You personally.
I would still play ranked versus. I actually enjoyed that. I like looking back on my time of playing NHL. I literally have more fun doing that than grinding the HUD every day and doing the whole like get on and.
Do you think that there's a way for Hockey Ultimate Team to be in that spot where you enjoy it?
If they made it more like MLB, where there's something like every like month to kind of go for. It's like World Series, you know what I mean? And it refreshes. There's a new reward, but it's more of like a drawn out thing. Where like I feel like Hut Champs is so play for 5-packs, play for 6-packs, play for 4-packs, play for 3-packs. I used to think it was actually pretty cool having like that almost, and maybe like you call it like the flex card on your team.
Oh yeah, the 5, yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool and like a little corny. I understand, sounds a little corny because it's just a virtual card, but I don't know. It's just I don't know how to describe it. I really feel like there's such a like, all right, play for GWC and then I'm knocked out, I'm done. There's so many guys that play way more than me that are literally done playing.
Oh yeah.
Like they take it. And like I still take it like serious in the sense of like I play to like, go far in GWC. Do I go far? Not anymore. Whatever. But there's a lot of guys I know I'm like stunned that they're like, I don't even know what to do now. And I don't know. I feel like it's almost hurt it more than it's done good. I understand what you mean by it props it up, but at the same time I also feel like it kills the game cycle a little bit. And I feel like LG is made like club. I mean, dude, I would play sixes. If it was just like go on the website and hit like the challenge button like it used to be like for LGUHL and the old Pro Series, but now it feels like a men's league. Like I play men's league every week and I don't want to add a virtual hockey league on top of that. But I'd love to play sixes. But if I go play sixes in the normal search thing, just like rank versus, if I go play rank versus, I'm playing nobody. It's like there's no challenge. Does that make sense? Because everyone has been flooded into these little tunnels of like you have to play this to be competitive. You have to play this to be competitive. And I don't know. I feel like they've made it so you can only, and maybe that's part of it. It's just like our society now, where everyone wants to like make money and do it in the easiest way possible, if that makes sense. And maybe like that's the only way to entice people is money. Where before, like when me and you were younger, and this isn't trying to be like, oh, back in my day, but it's like we used to play like club to go to Vancouver to fly out there for like bragging rights and nothing else. It's kind of crazy what it's changed to. You know what I mean?
Well, hyperfixation in all video games is brutal. Like these games are like I talk about this a lot. Like games now are like engineered to keep you playing more and more, and that's what ends up happening. So you play a new game and you play it a little bit, and then the first thing you think about is like, dude, I have to get so much better so that I can become like an esports pro at it. And like you go into every game like that, and then when you don't, you immediately give it up. And that's unfortunate. And I agree. I think that EA is being propped up by things that are not in the game. 100%. Like
that's what
competitive play, like they are propped up by things not in the game, and that's brutal. For everyone out there, I think a perfect example, you probably won't recognize it or understand this, but Destiny for years was propped up by Destiny LFG, where it was like a website that would find you with people to play with. And it wasn't in-game, but you had to use this outside site to enjoy the game. It was the only way to enjoy the game, essentially. And that's definitely what it reminds me of. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, obviously, I don't want the GWC to go away for selfish reasons. I love...
Well, yeah,
but I think it's not good for the game. And not because the NHL is doing a poor job with it. I think that it is... EA definitely relies more on EA like for the competitive aspect of it because they don't have a competitive mode. They don't have leaderboard. Like, for anyone that wants to be good at the game, they have this great tournament that's put on by the NHL every year that they don't have to really do anything for. I mean, they pay money for it, but like they don't do anything for it. So it's like, no, I definitely agree. And I want to touch on Europe a little bit from what you mentioned there, but the European thing. It's a lot like the regs and Gren part. Like it was cool to see regs and Gren for a third time because they went back to back and then they had like their third best of three. Incredible. We'll probably never see that again. I don't think ever. I wish there was someone that would challenge Eki in Europe, and I guess like you have to give him props because in this year especially to just survive, I guess, which he almost didn't. Again, I don't know if you watched, but the round robin format for how the GWC is now, fantastic, bro. Like I wish that this was how it was. He said something where there is no way the best player doesn't win. And I couldn't agree more because now what'll happen, it's a lot like the CHL, like the Memorial Cup. So like everyone plays each other in the round robin. Person who finishes last, out. Second, third, play each other. And then first automatically makes it to the World Finals. And then they play for, And it was great. There was also some gamesmanship too. So everyone went 1-1 in the first two games, which made the third round, there was like 19 different scenarios that could happen. Eki ends up winning his, so he's guaranteed first or second. But the kid Nicky Dangles was playing Hanselino Nicky Dangles was playing Eki, lost to him, and then Hanselino and Tempinen were playing each other. And they both realized, I don't know if they realized halfway through or like middle of the game, but when Eki's game was over, they realized that if they went to overtime, they'd both make second and third. So like they kind of just played it out for overtime. So there's some gamesmanship to it. So I can't wait for the North American side to kind of see how that plays out because the round robin was definitely the way to do it. You definitely get the best player. And I'm actually excited for how it works in the World Finals too. But we'll see. I'd love for someone new in Europe, 100%. But it's just a so much smaller population. So obviously makes it tough. But... Congrats to Eki. He went 5 out of 6. That's an insane accomplishment. And like I said, I don't think we'll ever see anything like that. If the JWC goes 10 more years, I doubt we see another European win it 5 times. Regardless if you want to, if how good Eki is compared to North Americans. Like just the fact that he was able to survive. NHL 23 was like the goals and stuff you have to survive to make it that far. Wild. So props to him. All right. Let's get into last night. Where do you want to start?
I guess we'll talk about your experience. I mean, as a Blues fan, I had like a 3-point, which is kind of funny. They said we missed by like 1 ball or something. I guess apparently that's what I read today. Because I didn't like watch. Like I guess the NHL published a separate video to show that it was on the up and up. I'm still skeptical as just being like a.
Oh, you're very. It's rigged.
I'm not like a tinfoil hat person though, really, honestly. I don't believe in conspiracies too much, but this is like the one, I don't know. Some of this stuff's just very strange to me with, just the Blackhawks getting Patrick Kane back in the day. Because the United Center, the Hawks used to not even be on TV.
Yeah, a lot of kids don't have any idea about pre-Kane and Taves. The Blackhawks were awful.
That's one of the biggest cities. That's one of the biggest cities in the world. So it's like, you have the United Center not even being able to get the second deck even filled at all. They weren't even on TV, and then all of a sudden, this is when they were bad that year. They weren't even the worst team, but like the Flyers were the worst team by like a mile. But the Flyers were still getting fans, and that's a diehard hockey market. And I always found it weird, like, oh, here's Pat Kane, but it's just I don't know the lottery. It's same thing with like McDavid in Buffalo. Like, do you think the NHL rather McDavid play in Buffalo or a Canadian city? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just stuff like that. It's a little weird.
First of all, I mean, they didn't do themselves any
with the production.
Yeah, because so for anyone that doesn't know, I listened to a lot of Frank Saravelli lately, and he got to be like in the room. I guess the draft lottery goes live at 8 p.m. It was actually done. It's done at 6:30, and then everyone in there is sequestered, so like they don't have their phones, all of that. And a lot of people are like, why don't they just show the ball? It's a TV show, guys. Like they could just announce it on Twitter. But they wouldn't get, I would love to see, I bet you it's more people watch the draft lottery show than probably, the game that was right after. Yeah, 100%. So the way that they do it with, Bill Daly and showing the cards or whatever, that's just good television. But what happened at the third where they cut Columbus, like that was awful. So yeah, I made a video about it today. Mine as a Sharks fan, I've never experienced that where they had a real good shot, and this is like the McDavid draft. This isn't like Lafreniere and Slavkovsky. This is not. It's not the same. So all I wanted was them to get fourth at least, because that's a big W. Because I think there's a break at 4. Or at least there appears to be. Who knows? We're all internet scouts that have seen 3 clips, right? So, like, I mean, like, no, you know what I mean? Like, I am not going to pretend to know. I know CHL players because I've seen them in real life, but
Right.
I think the highest rated CHL player is Colby Barlow, and he's like 10 to 15 range, maybe. So, but I knew from my understanding there was a gap a little bit at 4 to 5, and I was just like, man, the Sharks to have this bad of a season, and they really weren't that bad. They had the most blown leads in the NHL. They had 100-point defenseman, and there was a real possibility that they could be drafting like 10th overall. But nonetheless, here they are. They have a great chance, and I was like, okay. Once they got 4th, I was like, okay, I was excited. I yelled in my living room. I was like, this is sick. I'm like, perfect. I felt worse when I found out Chicago won than when San Jose didn't win. And I didn't realize how bad I didn't want Chicago to win. And the alternative is Anaheim. And as a Sharks fan, a lot of people were like, man, why would you want Anaheim to win? It's like everyone that I hated on Anaheim is retired or on the 4th line of the Lightning. Like, I don't hate. It's not the same. Like LA, I will hate forever, regardless. When Doughty and Kopitar and Quick hang them up, like that'll hate forever. But Anaheim, that was really Getzlaff and Kessler, and so not to mention, I just like. So, to go back to the Blackhawks thing, dude, there's just so much to unpack here. Because there's the I don't think I know that you're the sheriff of Twitter when the noise gets loud. I have never seen anything like that last night. Have you?
Yeah. No, I mean,
that was absurd, bro. That was
everyone was pretty much in agreement besides Hawks fans.
Dude, okay, I know we joke about like Twitter numbers and stuff. Dude,
Yeah.
my tweet. This might be the first time NHL social media has legit ever been on the same side ever. 1.7 thousand likes. Like, that's nuts. My tweet prior, absolute worst team to get Bedard. Guys, I don't have 100,000 on Twitter. I have 13K. And I got 525 likes on absolute worst team to get Bedard. Like, Blackhawks fans should be happy.
Yeah.
Like, right. I equated this to the Leafs winning the first round. Everyone else can't stand you, but you should be happy, right? Like right. You should be happy, like that. That's but to disregard why everyone is like they're the villains now, and Bedard has now I don't feel bad for Bedard because he's gonna light it up. He's gonna make $15 million a season, and it is what it is. But no one is ever like this is the example I gave when Edmonton gets knocked in a playoff run. And Chicago moves on, and Chicago is like in the Stanley Cup final. It does not matter who is from the Eastern Conference. No one wants Chicago to win. And when they lose, everyone is going to roast your team senseless, just like the Leafs. Like, I honestly think that's how it's going to go. Because, and it's not that they didn't deserve Bedard, it's that I think this highlighted the fact they didn't get punished at all for the Kyle Beach situation. Yeah. And a lot of people brought up, like, they got a $2 million fine, and dude, they made $7 million in the first 2 hours in season ticket sales after. That was a wild set of numbers, bro. Like, I think it was like 5.2 million in season ticket sales an hour after Bedard became a Blackhawk. So, yeah, like part of it is that, like, the organization. The owner is still the owner, Like, like his son, like, it does not change really. Like, I get that, like, the core is not there and whatever. Taves and Kane did not get any repercussions at all. They didn't have to face scrutiny, which is wild too. And now they're just gone. And, it is what it is. So it's like that whole situation was just completely swept on the rug. And I think if this was the NFL, the Blackhawks would have been fined 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, like, Arizona got fined or like lost more picks than Chicago did.
Yeah, the Coyotes, which again they broke the rules, and they they tried out some draft picks or some prospects for some athletic training, which is illegal technically. They lost a first round pick, and like one of the most disgusting things off ice to happen in hockey in the last like 20 years. Like they just get like, you know what I mean? Like there's no hockey ops repercussions, you know?
Yeah.
Which means nothing because, you know, it's $1 billion organization. Like what, you know, like what's money, right? So that was crappy. They should have lost a first round pick, not this year, last year. They should have lost it last year. And then this was my like issue. Is like they openly tanked, and I have a real issue with that because it sucks. You know, like it's not fun for the sport because tanking does not happen at the player or coach level. It can't. Like players, even if they don't like the team and they're free agents and they're ready to go, they're playing for the name on the back still. So you will never, which is exactly why Colorado didn't even finish dead last, even though their GM tried his damnedest to make that happen, right? And so I was thinking more and more about this, like how do you fix tanking in hockey? Because in the NFL, there's no lottery, right? And it works fine. And I think that might be because there's 22 positions. Well, no, there's not 22 positions, but there's 22 people on the field, and they all play different positions for the most part. So, like, the draft is much different, right? Like, one player in the NFL, unless it's like Andrew Luck or like a quarterback that is the end all be all. Like, it very rarely matters. Like, whoever goes second overall is usually just as good, if not better, because they always take quarterbacks first, and they usually end up don't doing anything. So, I came to this conclusion. If you finish where you finish in the NHL, I'm okay with it. And here is why. Chicago, again, trading Kane and Taves needed to happen. Like, that makes sense. You're rebuilding, right? Trading your best players under 25 that you've homegrown is the biggest middle finger to your fan base, that you've sold everything to try and get this one kid, right? Which puts a lot of pressure on the kid. Here's the thing. So I originally was like, dude, like I said it last year at the draft in Montreal. Like what they were doing was blatantly tanking, and like that, it's just like ugh, you know, like it doesn't seem legit. Anyways, I'm okay with finish where you finish. That's where you draft, and this is the reason why. What Chicago has now is Bedard and an AHL team, and in hockey, one player will not change your entire franchise. We're seeing it with the Seattle Kraken. What, like, they are rifling through the playoffs somehow, and that is because they just play well as a team, right? Like, they knocked out Colorado, which I guess, as you can say, like, would have, like, 2 or 3 guys, right? Bedard will not make the Blackhawks a playoff team next year, and probably not even for the next 3 years, right? But what they have surrounded him with is trash. And now he is, like, you know, he is going to have, like, Juji Kara and Tyler Johnson is like his wingers. Like, so if that's what you want to do and completely tank your franchise for one player, be my guest. Because I'm willing to hazard a guess. The Blackhawks won't make the playoffs for almost 4 seasons. I don't know. What would your expectations be of when they make the playoffs?
I'm going to say 3. I'm actually leaning towards 3 probably actually.
Like they'd be a wild card team or like ready to contend?
Yeah, probably wild card teams. I know they have like Reichel and that Kevin Korchinski or whatever, and I know they're like super high on him. I think he played for the World Junior team in Canada.
Korchinski is a WHL, yeah. He's a good player.
Yeah, and I think they think he's like a stud. Like he's gonna be like real good. I feel like it's such a destination place to play, even though I know people probably don't think it is because of what's going on with you know, all the crap. But it's funny because I texted you earlier and I was like, Merrick's saying that you know, would Patrick Kane go back there? He was kind of like speculating, and they had Lazarus on, who's the Hawks beat writer.
Yeah.
And Lazarus was like, the Hawks want nothing. They seem like they want nothing to do with like him and Taze. They kind of just want to like move on from that whole era.
First of all, they should. Like
right. But like, but I just meant because he's like, you know, like I think Kane on a better hip, I think he's fine. I agree. Mark Lazarus sucks, Butters. But I don't know. I like if Kane was healthy, I think he'd be like a good person to help, you know, Bedard for the next 5-6 years, like whatever, because he was in the same boat. Not a huge guy, you know, not like super fast, but super skilled type of thing. You know, I just think it'd be like a really good person to have there, like riding shotgun with him for a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
But he made some comments that make like, you know, that I think that it'd be like, he's like, you know, they can overpay guys on 1 or 2 year deals right now because they have $41 million to play with, and you know, if you're looking to like kind of, hit like a home run, like come in, play with Bedard for a year, and then leave. I mean, there's going to be a lot of free agents that want you. Not to mention Chicago, so it's like a cool city to play in. But I mean, he mentioned like Max Domi might come back. He even mentioned like Tyler Bertuzzi is out of the guy that they bring in. You know, so it's like I don't know. I mean, it just depends, I guess, who they bring in the next
The free
few
agency
years.
class this year is terrible. However,
I agree. It's
very bad.
But it's like, you know, maybe like in year 2, so like from 2 years from now, maybe they're like almost like a Buffalo at the deadline, and they have so much draft capital and stuff that they could use that and get players for the long term. Now that they have, it makes it a lot easier when you have a guy that projects, like we will see. I keep telling everybody I want to see him in the NHL before I get all excited, you know, because there's a difference with McDavid and Crosby.
I think that like his like shot, like you don't have to be a scout to like see like that's different. Like he might have one of the best shots in the league already. But yes, you're right. Like can he not get smoked?
Cole Caulfield has a shot just as good, if not better. Now, is he 5'7"? And yes, I understand. What I'm saying though is I wouldn't say like Bedard's going to be an elite skater, like speed wise, like McDavid is.
He seems to be very shifty, but yes.
I don't think he's going to be a beast on the puck like Crosby is. I think he's going to be like a combination
I think he's going to be Patrick Kane.
I think he's going to be a combination of Jack Hughes and Cole Caulfield mixed. And that's not that bad. That's really good.
No, I think he'll be a 100-point player, but he's not Crosby McDavid or Draisaitl or McKinnon. I agree with you there.
I think he'll be like right under them, but like Jack Hughes, like look how good he is like now. You know what I mean? Like no one thought that was going to be. No one thought like there was a time where everyone was like, I don't know if he's going to be this good. Now he looks like, oh my god, Jack Hughes. But the game's changed so much, even just in the last 3-4 years. You know what I mean? And no one hits anybody now. So it's like true. You know. But I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking. Like I don't care. I'm a Blues. I got my Stanley Cup. I saw it. I'm not bitching because of that reason. I'm more so just like I hate the whole feeling like something's rigged. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Everyone, literally every single fan of every other franchise left last night being like, ugh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just sucks. Because, like, you have this kid who has been hyped and talked about for 3 years before this draft. And he went to the one franchise that no one wanted. Because it's just like, whether they deserve to be bad for a while, it seems like they get bailed out. They are the definition of tanking, and you know, like that sucks. And you know, it's no Hawks fans should be happy, but you are literally now the New York Yankees. Only, you know, like in the sense that like everyone hates you. Like you will never, when Taves and Kane, every single Canadian kid loved the Blackhawks because like it was Kane and Taves, and like that was sick, and they had Bufflin and Ladd and like all those guys. No one wants the Blackhawks to do well, and you will get shit on relentlessly when they lose. If they lose, they're probably going to win cups now. Who knows?
And real quick, like with the rigging stuff, like I don't. If I'm the league, like I would do it. Like who cares? Like why would you not want to make that city good again? I mean, I know it sounds bad to say, but it's like look at what you just said like 5 minutes ago. Look how much money they made. Wait till they start printing his jerseys. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's going to run that city for the next 15 years. I
think the crazy part there though is like when people are like they'll never go to a small market. They're only small markets until someone like Bedard goes there, right? Like, dude,
did you see my tweets at Jers last night?
I did not.
So Jers was like, here, I'll pull it up real quick. I'll just read it to you. He basically was like bashing. They're just saying that, like, well, of course he goes there. Like, he needs to go there, you know, like, to Chicago, which is kind of what I just said for, like, the money. He's like, because it'll grow the game of hockey more. And I'm like, no. It grows the game of hockey more if he's in Anaheim, if he's in Columbus, if he's in San Jose, because those are not hockey markets per se. But the thing is, like, look at St. Louis. We didn't have a Bedard, but we had Brett Hall. When I was a kid, Brett Hall was a god here. And he made so many kids play hockey here because of what he did. Just like the 2019 Blues Cup. That's going to, like, the numbers skyrocketed because everyone gets on, like, the hype train. It's just a fact that, you know, it helps. Like the Hawks are good. Hockey's huge in Chicago. That 5 point whatever million you mentioned, that would not be that if there was no such thing as all those Stanley Cups all those years. Like if it was just like
for sure.
crappy black, like when they got Kane and Taves back then, there's no way they sold the amount of, you know, like what they just sold now.
No.
It's because they won all those cups and they have the roots and the foundation there now forever.
Like Arizona's had Shane Doan.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
no wonder they are always like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they have Shane Doan. That's
Yep.
it. Like, as a Sharks fan, the Sharks sold out for 11 straight years, and they never won a cup, but they had 2 Hall of Famers. Well, in my opinion, 2 Hall of Famers. At least 1 first ballot. Like that's how that's how this works. So like
Hmm.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like it isn't benefit the league more. I don't think it benefits the league at all that he goes to Chicago. To be
No,
honest,
I think it benefits with like TV deal, like TV
yes,
stuff
yeah,
and
I'm
like,
probably
like that stuff I'm talking about. But when I mean,
optics. Like
when I
marketing
mean
was
like
not like, yo, not good.
yes,
Like I bet
when
they're
I mean
all
like
like,
growing the game at a grassroots level, it
yeah,
helps if he doesn't go to Chicago. That's my like.
exactly,
There's two different things. There's the business, and then there's like the other stuff. Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah.
crazy. I mean, it happened, and I mean, it's whatever. I guess we're just gonna have to sit back and watch.
It dude,
And
the part that's like so disappointing is like, bro, we have 15 years of this. Like one
yep.
of the generational players, potentially. Again, he hasn't even played a game yet. But it's like,
Hmm.
dude, he's just a Blackhawk, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Like that's it.
I know.
That's it, dude.
It's wild.
You know, it sucks. Like that's
Yeah.
the admit. Like I wanted to be so excited to watch him, and I probably won't ever watch a game. I'll watch highlights. You know, because like it's it. Because like it's just like ugh. You know. But anyways, I want to talk the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, you want to start with the? I know we had some Oilers requests in the chat, so you want to start with the
So
Oilers and
uninstalling
Vegas
here.
series? Yeah,
It's kind of going how I anticipated. They're just going
Yeah.
back and forth with kicking the shit out of each other, and
Mhm.
you know, I know you're a big Knights fan. They're your team. What's going
they're
on?
my team out of the West, and then my team out of the East is Florida. Just because I just even regardless of the Leafs, I just love the story. I love non-hockey.
Oh, you
I
love
love.
okay. First of all, you love Kachuk because you have a
Oh
personal
yeah,
relationship with him,
yeah.
just like
I do
Petro.
love Matthew.
Yeah,
I do.
okay,
Yeah.
so
I
okay,
mean, there's
yes,
yeah, like yes, yeah, that's true. But I do like not like different teams. Like it sounds weird to say, but the year the Nashville knocked us out and they went to the Cup final, I kind of like that. I just like different teams succeeding.
same.
Like when you guys went to the Cup, I wanted you to win because sorry, Kess, I know you're in chat, but like I mean, it's just I like different any sport, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't even
I
matter,
agree.
Like I just think it's good for sports when like different cities win.
100%.
And it's good for the game. But yeah, like Vegas, I just feel like Vegas is a more complete team. The goaltending is weird on both sides. I don't have any faith in any goalies. I
Yeah,
will
I
say
know.
Aiden Hill did look good last night though when he went in, and he's a
If
big
they
boy.
gotta hang their hat on Aiden Hill, brother, it is
Yeah,
gonna be ugly. Like I mean,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, Brossoit looks like he's done. That looked like a bad
yeah, it was
injury.
gross. I
Yeah,
mean,
it looked bad. How about Vander Kane running at Petro?
love it.
I texted
Like
Petro today. I go, Vander Kane is such a loser. He goes, loser! Exclamation point. That's what he said. Because like it was
That's
like
actually funny.
it reminds me of like a kid losing losing it at like a youth hockey game. He just like charged at Petro, and Petro
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Like it was like the weirdest thing because no one. It reminds me of almost when like in football when they go to take a kneel when the time's
Oh
like
yeah,
okay,
no,
like
the defensive end just goes
just
right through.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I was like, "What is going on?"
I am,
It was wild.
dude. There's something about Vander Kane and the Golden Knights, man. I don't know what it is, but like he just
He
cannot
owns that.
deal. Dude, it's what, dude. Like, his stuff with like okay. The reason why I love it is because like I like I enjoy like fighting and like
Yeah,
I like seeing that I'm just or that someone on the team that I enjoy is just as angry, which is why I can't stand watching the Leafs right now.
yeah,
And I think that I hated that Kane how it ended with Kane. I think that he deserved to be suspended for. He was the example I gave about the Blackhawks is that no one gets repercussions. Like you shouldn't be canceled and done, and the book's closed, and like that's it, unless the crime that you committed is worth it. I think that what happened with Vander Kane, it was ridiculous that he got kicked out of the Sharks and able to end his contract, immediately sign with Edmonton, and now it's just completely forgotten about. He should have been suspended a year, not play hockey, and then done because he did his time. But he's the same dude. Like he's the exact same dude that he's been in since since Buffalo, bro.
yeah.
Like that's it. Like he has not changed. He has not learned. And this is what happens in the NHL an awful lot. So, anyways, I man, the only problem is that like Evander Kane is a lot of the depth right now. And when he's like out of the thing, I mean, but I don't know, man. He's a play. Yes, he is. He's a great player to have. I think that Edmonton figures it out. I just feel like, man, their path is just so. I'll tell you this, man. The NHL's praying. With what happened, what's going on in the Panthers Leaf series, they are praying that Edmonton gets it together here. So,
Yeah.
do you think Vegas wins this?
The thing is, I just feel like Vegas is a better team, but the problem is like you have like if you're Vegas, you have like two of the best players ever on the other side that just have like they'll have like
Dude,
those
they're
games
automatic on the power play. It's absolutely
yeah, like
wild.
they'll have those games that they did in game 2 in Vegas where it's just like it's game over after
The first
5 minutes.
period, yeah, exactly.
It's like so they can just like tonight if the Leafs did that or something like where like say Matthews, Marner, and or no, wait they play tonight right the Leafs
Tomorrow.
or tomorrow sorry I keep forgetting the stupid 2 day
I know
thing.
it's weird.
Um,
The only series that has
strange.
that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess it's TV related, whatever. But I mean, tomorrow night it would not shock me in the least bit if like the Leafs all of a sudden just go off or something like the core four. You know what I mean? It's just because when you have that firepower, it's like it's bound to happen. Now McDavid and Draisaitl are at a different level in my opinion, even though Matthews and Martin are really
In your
good.
years
But
of watching hockey, those are like what's happening right now is like the best ever, correct? That you've seen?
yeah, yes, I think so. I mean, yeah, I think so. It's just. It wouldn't surprise me the least bit if that happened tomorrow night, but it's but yeah, I that's why I feel like it's gonna go back and forth, and there's gonna be like another game where like Edmonton blows them out. You know what I mean?
It's boring hockey though. Like
Yeah.
like it sucks. Like you know what I mean? Like as a fan, it's got to be awesome because at least you know the game's over or you've already won. All right. Like, okay. What about dude? Seattle. Seattle reminds me, not a, like kind of Montreal. Like in the sense that I feel like you bet against them every single round, but
Yeah.
eventually they are going to run into. Like I feel like if Edmonton moves on, I could see Edmonton like absolutely just rocking Seattle. Like I feel like it's coming at some point. And I don't think that Dallas is done. Ottinger has looked awful, which is weird. And I think
Yes.
that he'll bounce back because I still think he's the best goalie in the playoffs, right? At a certain point, being a team will get you really far in the NHL because that's important. But then like I said, at a certain point, like you're gonna get caught out there with like like Will Borgen against Matt like McDavid and Draisaitl. It's just gonna be like, okay, that's enough, and we'll see. But
And the Kraken have a lot of Stanley Cup winners. It's weird when you like look at their roster. They kind of I don't know if they did. I mean, I feel like
do they name them?
Yeah, I mean they got Schwartz. He's got one. Yanni Gord's got two.
Oh, you're right there. Yeah.
What's his name on the back? Vince Dunn on the back end's got one. Justin Schultz.
How many
I mean,
Blues do they have?
I know they have two, and then but I mean it's yeah. I mean like they I don't know if they did it on purpose like when they were drafting or whatever their team, but I mean it's like a solid team. I mean it's just a weird. They don't really have like that stud like Beniers is really good. Yeah, and Grubauer had one
with Capitals? Not with
but the Capitals
yeah,
as a
it's
backup. He started the playoffs. If you, I mean,
Yeah, he
remember
did. And then Holtby had to come in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously over in the East tonight we have the Devils and the Canes, and that's such a weird. I don't know why it's such a weird series.
I thought the Devils would pump them.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe they do. I mean, maybe they pump them again tonight. Like I don't know. I mean, Luke Hughes came in and looked pretty good.
Oh man,
Like
that team is going to be so good because of those two. Like.
They just have no goalie too that I feel like I have any faith in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
Vanacek and
Vanacek's already been in 4 playoff games already.
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
and he came in the other day, but
Yeah.
he still let in like 4 or 5. But it's just like I don't know. I have no faith in their goaltending, but like Carolina's just like a good team. You know what I mean? Just a good team.
It's
just
so
like
unfortunate that they lost Svechnikov and Teravainen and Pacioretty even like that team like without Boston being in there, like I really feel like that would this year they would have had a chance to make the cup. God, dude, yeah, like so I'm gonna be real. Like I like when hockey is the focus. I really enjoy that, which is why I personally been like not on top of me like wanting to see the Leafs win from my old man and whatnot, and just me being in the area and getting like kind of like it's like contagious, but
right.
It's better when hockey is the at the forefront. And man, if it is Florida, and it doesn't really matter, it will be Florida, but like Florida Carolina, bro, like that is all like that might be. Is that the worst conference final I'm trying to think. 'Cause at least
In terms of
Pittsburgh had
just, like,
Crosby. Like the
in terms of like hockey hype, yeah, it's
I'm talking
up
about the
there.
random viewer that
Yeah,
maybe doesn't really have a team, or they have a team and that team gets knocked and like they stop and maybe throw the game on. Like there's no shot. Like I don't.
maybe ours a few years ago, Blues and Sharks. I mean,
Yeah, that's probably. To be honest, that's probably it. That's probably it. It's Blues and Sharks.
I mean, I think Blues and Sharks is definitely we have a way bigger hockey community than Florida and Carolina.
Yes, that's true.
But
At
so
the
does San
time,
Jose.
especially.
Even San Jose, just because it's in California. But it's like kind of like that. You know what I mean? Where it's not like the super big. I don't know.
Florida Carolina is awesome. It is awesome if you are a true hockey fan. I'm talking about like the casual sports viewer. Like this is why if you talk to like NHL executives, like people that work for the league, when New York got eliminated, that was awful for them. And then what's happening Toronto? If Toronto moves on, they are trending on Twitter every time that the Leafs play. Like they have a, like, you know what I mean? Like people will stop to watch the Leafs because the Leafs are the biggest fan base, and that is just a buzz. Like there is a buzz to it no matter what. Florida unfortunately doesn't have that. If you are not a hockey fan, I think Florida is fun to watch. Like they're a fun hockey team to watch. But yeah, man, I don't know.
What do we think? Do we think that goes in 4, or do you think it's gonna go back? I
think
it
this
might
is
go
like
back
a
to-
Kevin Millar situation, like 4 days in October. Like put him to bed tonight. Like
Yeah, maybe.
Bobrovsky is doing stuff he hasn't done in 4 years. I think that if they get after him, like, dude, it's the Joseph Wall era, bro. This could be our you know, like the 2020 version of Cam Ward and Martin Gerber. You know what I mean?
I've been saying to like all Leafs fans, I'm like, that's your best goalie in your organization right there. I'm a big Joe Wall fan, or well, it's actually pronounced Wall, but everyone calls him Wall now. But he, it's I used to like help out with him when he was a kid here in St. Louis, like at the goalie school that I like grew up with. So it's like I've been following him since he's gone to Boston College, and he's a good goalie. I just don't know if
that's gonna be terrifying.
That overtime goal, in my opinion, like that was the game the Leafs could steal. I didn't feel like they were like dominated, but I definitely felt like that like last 15 minutes that third period, they were getting outplayed. Like O'Reilly had that terrible turnover, and Bennett.
Sucks because the first 2 games the Leafs outplayed Florida.
Yeah, and I just feel like that last 15 minutes they were hanging on. I was like, well, I texted like a bunch of them. I'm like, you watch, they're gonna get some dumb goal again, like the Leafs will. You watch, and then of course. Like just a great play by Reinhart. The whole thing from the dump or like from the like stop at the blue line to going in, and you know like just the rim around the board. It was just such a nice set play, and it looked so clean like when they scored it. But it was a great play, and I felt like that was just such a backbreaker.
Oh, you know what I mean? 100%. Because like I want to address something. Jay Urban Chat said, "You say small market teams getting a stud helps the game grow, but small markets deep in the playoffs doesn't."
He meant the league.
Like the league from a league standpoint, not a fan standpoint. Like if you are the NHL, the National Hockey League, Florida beating the Leafs is terrible for your numbers. Like it's absolutely brutal. I became a fan of the Sharks because they were in the playoffs, right? So it is good for that team. Like you might get new Florida Panther fans that are not from Florida, right? Like because they have something crazy. Like I'm literally a Sharks fan because the Sharks were in the playoffs in 2003. So like that from a team standpoint, obviously it's better, right? Is that Fillmore?
Oh, that's Truman.
That's Truman.
Yeah.
Someone in chat said, "Bro, Padre's dog is adorable. He's got 2 of them." But dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. I would put, memes aside, I'd put Matt Murray in.
Yeah,
dude's won 2 cups. Just let it go. You're gonna lose.
Just go down with the guy you brought in.
Just go down with the tandem that you put all your chips into.
Yeah, I mean they hitched their wagon to those guys. So
yeah, exactly. Like if there was one of the 2 to have a shot to do this, and what's funny is that everyone says it is over, and it is because that's the easy money. I have seen it. I have literally burned $2,500 in Sharks memorabilia because I needed to exercise what that team did to me in 2014. So it could happen.
Yeah,
Do I think so? No, I obviously don't. But Bobrovsky has looked like someone that he is not. Did you hear that thing about how he loses 10 pounds in a game?
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I was like, what? That's why when I heard that they were having like 2 days off in between games,
it's huge for him.
Yeah, that's good for him, right? You know, so he's not as exhausted.
Yeah, like
crazy.
It 10 pounds, bro. Like that is apparently he's really lanky. You never see goalies like you always just expect goalies to be a little huskier like Robin Leonard. And
Benner is super lanky here.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude.
He's got like twigs for legs. It's crazy.
And then okay. Do you think Florida puts him away?
I don't know why I have a feeling that like they're gonna go back to Toronto. I
think it goes like Game 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, but hopefully it's just an ass kicking.
You want to see him done?
I want to see the people that were chanting "We want Florida."
Can we address that too? By the way,
God,
would you not? If you were a Florida, if you were
actually, you know what? And that's if I would know the injuries, and I would. And dude, I said before,
yes.
I would actually want to play Boston at that second because I'm like they're banged up. They look as bad as they looked in months. They don't look like they're gelling, and it's almost like it's the inevitable. Like I thought they were gonna get like slay the first round Demons, slay the first or the Bruins because they always lose to the Bruins. I thought it was gonna be like the whole shebang. You know what I mean?
Dude, can exercise all demons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought. But but Florida might be the hottest team in hockey right now.
What do you think happens to the Leafs when they get knocked out this year?
I mean, I've already said before on here, like, I've mentioned it, and people think I'm like crazy, but I said before, I think that they're going to go to Matthews and they're going to say, "Are you going to sign?" And if he's not, I think they're going to trade him this summer because a lot of the people I've talked to.
What do you think a deal looks like?
I don't even know.
Bro, I've said this too because everyone's like trade whatever, like insert random core 4. It's like, bro, I lived that.
If he was an American, I'd feel better about him staying there too. Yeah, that's the problem.
That's true. There is a lot. It sounds dumb, but like as someone who is Canadian, it is a real thing. Once you turn 30,
and Canadians get so upset.
I don't understand. I feel like it's guys that are a lot.
Why did John Tavares leave New York City and he goes back to Canada? Like I don't know because he wanted to go home. Like it's just how it is.
Yeah.